Oh, brave Sir Hero, you were too young to die. Hello, anybody, and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Legacy. I'm Mr. Devious, or just Deeb, and in the last episode, we died a lot. And Sir Hero was our last victim. And in today's episode, we are very hopefully going to get further into Forest Abkhazia and face the boss. We'll see. As for what character class we're going to take in there today, I think we are going to take in... We're not going to take in the Miner because she's nearsighted, and that makes everything that's far away blurry, and the Hokage has the same issue. So I guess today we're going to be a Lich Queen. We made a lot of money in the last episode, thankfully, so we can really upgrade the castle. Now, we need to put in points where there have not been points put in, just in the interests of trying to get the castle. So we're going to increase our invulnerability time, which is just fantastic. And we're also going to get our mana cost down, so with a mage, really nice. So 5% boost down, or 5% decrease on how much it costs to spend magic. Also, you can unlock the ability to randomize children. Use the power of science to make a whole new batch of babies. So if you get 3 kids that you don't like, you can randomize them one more time. Also, there's a secret thing up at the top. Bestiality. Half man, half mystery. All awesome. Press A to awesome. We don't have the money for awesome, but that's a hidden class that we can get. We're gonna see what it is eventually when we make that much money. Otherwise, we've almost finished upgrading the castle. We are going to upgrade the miner since it's here, even though it's just, all that digging has turned your miners into spelunkers. Now that spiffy light on your head actually does something. Not really. Although I think it does help with finding treasures throughout the castle, like with the class upgrades, so we'll see that when we play as them again. For the time being, though, we are a gigantic lich. And we can't get the Sage Sword because it's too expensive. Everything's a little too expensive right now. Look at all these runes we could buy. One of the things I really like about Rogue Legacy is that you can really kind of just spend your money as you please early on. Like, you have a lot of options going in. Which is basically to say, you can play the game your way. If you want to put your money into your castle, fine. If you want to put your money into your character, or like into weapons and armor and runes, that's also an option. And I like that. As you've seen so far, I tend to upgrade the castle and go with that, because I just like having character inherent abilities more than just equipment, even though the equipment itself and the runes are extremely important. Runes in particular, as we've seen for their gameplay changing abilities, just for the added agility, is really, really nice. Now, we don't have a ton of HP yet, but the Lich's ability allows them to... The Lich Queen and King's ability is to cut their HP in half and add a bunch of it to their MP. So, before I use it, we're gonna fill up our max HP a little bit, so that we don't, so we don't make our HP too friggin' low that we die in one hit. That would be embarrassing. Like the last episode where I died so many times. Oh hey, it's another Prince's Journal to make up for the one we didn't read in the last episode. Journal entry number 9. The door to the throne room is driving me mad. Beyond it lies the king's salvation and my reward, but it stands silent in the middle of the castle foyer, taunting me. I've tried pushing it, kicking, yelling open sesame, but nothing works. There are icons emblazoned into the doors, and one of them looks like a beast I avoided deeper in the castle. Perhaps there is some sort of correlation. We already figured this out, Prince. We already figured it out, what the symbols on the door means. But hey, maybe you'll figure it out eventually. Now let's pray and hopefully not get the hedgehog curse. We got the compass. Last time we got the compass, we got ourselves killed, so we didn't get to see the treasure that awaited us at the end. We got shot and died. What bad luck. I was careless in that room, and I died. That child is not going to have a good... See? Feeble Lich Queen. Bad time. Well, that was great. That was great. You know what? We are going to go with the Barbarian Queen, who's stereo blind. I don't want to swap their HP and MP pools. I cannot believe that happened. I mean, I can believe it happened, but it's still frustrating, nonetheless. I mean, come on. Even though it was my fault. Come on. Oh well. As far as deaths go, could have been worse. Sadly, we can't really spend our money on anything, so we didn't even make enough to buy one thing. Unfortunately, the downside of being a giant of any class that's not like the Barbarian or the Paladin is even though you get a huge reach with your sword, it can kill you really fast if you have a low amount of HP, because even though you're giant, your HP does not improve, nor your defense or anything like that, so probably should have been more discerning with the ability that I took. But again, c'est la vie. That's just what I did, and I got punished for it accordingly. Now then, it's time for us to go onward. And sadly, we still didn't get to see the end of the Compass Trail and get any kind of treasure, but again, we'll probably see it again before the end of the game. It's a fairly common thing to get for praying from assistance. Sadly, and by sadly I mean annoyingly, those portraits do like to stay out of reach of your swinging attack, and that's another thing that's kind of annoying to deal with when you fight them. But thankfully for us, we have reached the forest in little time with a lot of stats, or at least we're still doing pretty well on all of our health and everything, so that's good. Also, we have a fairly cheap and useful spell, so I'm glad about that. This Barbarian will avenge... Mini-boss is back. This Barbarian will avenge our trials, or avenge our ancestors for their poor performances. Their poor performances, I don't know what you're talking about. This mini-boss is good to use the Barbarian's ability on because how they can just neutralize projectiles. So, extremely useful for that. And we get a whole bunch of money. As you can see, diamonds are worth 5 times a bag of money. And with the bonuses for money, like the I forget what it's called, but the ability that increases how much money you get, diamonds become very valuable very quickly. Now, I'm not going to waste my time in here because I can't even get the money that the other enemies drop in here. Sadly, it did do some damage to us, the mini-boss, because, well, it's mini-boss and I got hit a couple times by bones. But we're still sitting pretty, if you were to ask me. It's a little challenging to get around these bonely mans, these stickly mans. I need to stop just walking into these dudes. Alright, I need to get my act together because I am dying a lot and not performing as well as I could be. We're not going to do anything about that guy because we can't do anything about that guy. Down in this room, I don't want to descend in this room because it's just dangerous to go down into rooms that are uncertain. It's almost always easier to go up in a room than it is to go down. So, hopefully we can right our wrong. I meant to stab downward and I slashed forward. I didn't push down enough. Holy moly. Wow. This has been a bad time. We're gonna be Lady Jenny. She is insane. We're gonna try to get even more money. Also, we're bald. What could possibly go wrong? We're gonna increase the weight limit. And we're going to buy a new sword. Well, we can't afford the new sword, but, you know. We're going to buy the vampire helmet. Actually, no, we're not, because we're going to lose a lot of HP from that. Oh my god. Well, let's just buy the silver helmet for now. Or rather, the silver... Well, we can't buy the silver chest yet. Let's just buy the silver helm. Oy vey. This has not been a good time for Mr. Devious, or just Deeb. Balding. Just a lot of strings of death today, but hopefully we're going to set things right. Because I said Also, yeah, now the miner can see all the treasure on the map. It's damn nice. With the class upgrade I gave them. Also, they can turn on their headlight, but you know, that does nothing. On the plus side, it's free and doesn't consume any mana. And it does light up the lower areas of the dungeon, like the very dangerous dungeon areas, which is exactly what it, you know, the land of darkness. You can light it up, and that's nice. Anyway, what was I saying? You can light up the land of darkness, but you don't really want to travel down there with the miner too often, even though you are great riches to be had. And some people, just as soon as they get the miner class, and if it's upgraded, they can just go straight down there, and if they can dodge enough enemies, you can get a lot of money in a very short period of time. However, again, as I've said before in a previous episode, I'm going to try and avoid doing that, because I don't want to get too much money and too powerful too quickly. Thankfully, this room is going pretty nicely so far. Not really too much to worry about. That was all the enemies in the room, really. And we got the Grace Rune. And we find another diary entry. We're just eating these up. Journal entry number 10. The emblem on the castle door are a clue. I slew the giant beast that matched one of the icons, and I sensed something shift behind the throne room doors. As if in a dream, I could see an emblem on the door glowing in my mind's eye. A truly out-of-body experience. At least I know I'm on the right track, but I must hasten my pace, for the king could succumb to his injuries at any moment. But first I must rest. Tomorrow I enter the forest. So, now we know that was when he finished his time in the castle. And we got a retaliation room for our helmet. As you can see, we just needed to use our scythe to hit the enemies that were at a strange angle. No big deal for that room. This minor life is going okay. I say tentatively, with concern. Sure would be bad if I died again. Sure would be very bad. What happened this episode already? We were a Lich Queen and we died, and we were a Barbarian and we died because of carelessness. I don't understand what's been going on these past 5-6 lives or so, why this has been happening. Have I just been getting foolhardy? Is it just in my nature or something? Hopefully it's not a trend of bad things to come, but, well, we'll see. And I wasn't looking at the actual stage, so I got hit by a missile in the face. Game is being unforgiving. Rogue Legacy is deceptively hard. You can have a hard room just followed up by an easy room, and it can catch you off guard so easily. Like, this is a pretty challenging room. You need to take advantage of the small spaces that you are afforded for dodging enemies and the like. But they're not many, and, oh, you got that rain of fire up above. It is a tough time. This room, though, not too bad. Now, what kind of goodies are we gonna get from the spiritual shrine? We got Khidr's Obol. Very interesting. I gotta remember what that does. I'm not entirely sure, actually. I think it might let me refight the boss, refight Khidr if I can find him? Maybe. I'm not entirely sure, actually. This is really not a good idea, because I said I would... Alright, I'm gonna explore a little bit in the interests of finding out what exactly what this Obol is gonna do, because... Oh my god, how was I supposed to react to that in a timely manner? Ugh. Here we have a big dude, shoots a lot of things, so... Thankfully, if you knock him up into an area where his ability is like in the wall or something, it won't be able to go past the walls. So that's good. I don't understand why the eyeballs bloodshots... eyeballs, bloodshot, get it? Why the eyeballs bloodshots operate the way they do, by which I mean... they go through walls, whereas like most other magic in this game does not. Ugh. This has not been a good run for Mr. Devious. Even though it was going better, it only takes a few hits to send a run down the toilet. And again, like I was saying before, it's really bad if you end up on the bottom. Or, like, on the bottom? If you end up on the top of the room and have to go up. Huh. Now here we are at Khidr's door, but it looks like I was wrong about the obol having anything to do with that. I think the obol is for something else that we have yet to see. But, you know. Now this fairy room is take no damage. We're gonna die in that room. Plain and simple, if we go in that room, we will die. No questions, ifs, ands, or buts. Just being realistic. But, at the very least, because we found the boss room door, we can now warp back over to this side, which should take us into the forest. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that I could not resist the temptation of exploring and figuring out what the heck is going on out there. Mr. Bones is a dangerous enemy. Mostly because his bones can go off screen, so it's harder to follow the arc of his attacks. Now, you may have noticed this, or discerned this, when you were looking at the map before I found Khidr's boss door, is if you use the miner's ability to see treasure chests, and you look for treasure chests that are right next to each other, you can get a good feeling for where the boss doors will be. So that's a very useful secondary ability, or secondary function of using the miner when they're upgraded. The spelunker, if you will. I'm doing this room even though it's dangerous because it's actually pretty easy. Now we just need to go back down and get the heck out of here. And because since we are the spelunker, we may as well take the time to get treasure, because that's what they're good for. Because the bonuses they give are still really massive. Alright, Dementia, which makes you insane. Sometimes enemies aren't real, and neither are their attacks. It is a hell of an ability. By which I mean, it's not a great ability to have because it becomes increasingly confusing what's real and what isn't. And it's just a bad time, and we're dead. Done in by a projectile. This will not stand. I'm gonna check the time real quick. Alright, you know what? I feel bad. I feel bad that over the course of like 7 lives now, I wasn't able to reach the boss of the forest even once. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take this paladin, or the Hokage. We're gonna take the paladin. We're gonna head into the forest, and we are gonna face this boss at least one time. It's the least I can do. Because I swear to God, I will not stand for this embarrassment. We're also going to increase our HP even more. And our magic while we're at it. Actually, we're going to increase our armor even more. And reduce the damage that the enemies will do to us. Something, whatever. Now, hopefully with Khidr's obol we can figure out what it does. Oh, this is a very special obol. Give it to me, and I shall let your soul pass through the other gates. We're gonna do just that. Now, what does he mean by that? Is a special feature that I think wasn't initially in the base game, but it was free DLC that came along later. And we'll see what it will do as we go throughout the castle again. But right now, our main mission is to get to the forest and fight the boss of that place at least one time. Thankfully, we are the reliable paladin, and we have a lot of health now with which to do our fight. Now, this is a fairly easy fairy chest room, especially if you have a double jump. We get ourselves another vault room, which is another double jump rune, so we could get a triple jump if we wanted. We're not gonna, though. I mean, maybe we will. There's a lot of good runes. It makes it hard to choose, but I don't usually stack them, even though it is totally viable to do that. Well, for now, we're going to play another minigame. 10 daggers, 8 targets again. Maybe this time we'll have better luck. God damn it. This thing is really hard to hit. Really hard! Oh my god. Well, starting to get our bearings, but it's already too late. We've already lost our shot at this one. Oh well. Yeah, I know I couldn't even hit 8 targets, but at least I got a little bit of money. Oh well. Could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse. As bad as it was. Right, got some... That's a lot of zombies down there. A lot of skeletons down here. But with our paladin sword, we can take care of them just fine and kill them off. Thankfully, with crowding enemies like skeletons and zombies, if you can get them all together and kill them nice and easily, you can get usually a lot of money for your trouble. Thankfully, Paladin's pretty good at clearing out enemies and just does a good amount of damage. Well-rounded class. This one has a filthy mouth, though, which is just funny. Okay. As you can see, all of these stat upgrades and everything are starting to pay off, as even these big enemies are almost dying in one hit. So soon the castle will be trivial for us to deal with. And they're doing less damage, of course, as you can see, so... As I said, we're gonna get over to that forest this time, and here we have a mini-boss. No, it's not a mini-boss, it's just a Class 3 version of this enemy. The mini-boss is harder than that thing. That thing's mini-boss version is gigantic. Now here we can actually see what they were talking about, what that guy was talking about, by which I mean Sharon when I say that guy, when he says other gates. So for Khidr's Obel, we can go into this door and fight Neo Khidr, Lady McSwordy. So the reason I went in here without a regret is that these are special fights against the boss where you get a specific class with a specific build and abilities. And there's no consequence for dying. You can do these as many times as you like, and usually the trick of these fights is to figure out what the boss's weakness is, or like, not know what the boss's weakness is taking advantage of your character's ability. And in this case, we have a spell sword who gets back a lot of MP with every hit. So the goal here is to get back your mana as quickly as you can and just spam the giant sword as much as you can. So we're going to try that one more time before we head off to the forest. I will kill these things, I will kill these bonus bosses, but this might not be the episode in which to do it, because otherwise we'd be here all day. But as you can see, if you once you get a pattern going, it won't be that bad. Okay, one more shot, just one more try. This time for real. Because we're here anyway. Lady McSwordy versus Neo Khidr. I can't remember if you actually get anything for killing these, other than an achievement, which I've already gotten because I've already killed these things. I was wondering when and how I would address fighting these dudes again, but... oof. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna deal with these guys a little later, once I've gotten you back and used to the controls of the game. For now, though, I've already made our priorities clear, and that is going into the forest, and I've broken enough promises as it is, and I thank you for your patience in all the time that it's taken me to get over to the forest and actually confront the boss that's up ahead. While we're here, we might actually use more of the Paladin's ability to avoid damage, or trade it for MP, rather, because, ooh, we are not having a great time. I kind of tried to bum rush it through that room, and I kind of suffered for it, but whatever. We got through and out. And with God as my witness, we are going to make it to the end, and we are going to fight the boss of the forest. So, you know, don't make me look bad now, Rogue Legacy. I mean, you're not the one making me look bad, it's my own skills and abilities. It's so hard to get used to the eyeballs, in that their abilities, again, can go through walls, whereas other projectiles cannot. That's really something that's tricky to get used to. But oh well. I also haven't been using my magic attacks, which I should be, since I have, whatchamacallit, OCD. Whoa, 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 whoa. There's a fairy chest in this room. But there's one of those enemies. I'm not gonna fight it. I'm not gonna fight it. I already made my promise. We are going to take advantage of this room with the spike. And... oof, this is just a rough time. However, as you can see, resetting the room by going out and coming back in is a very useful tactic. It does feel a little cheesy, but, you know, I don't really feel that bad about it. Sometimes when I'm weak. Got a blueprint for a silver cape. And like I said, we found the boss door. We are weak and hurting, but I'm just gonna duck around really quick to see if I can get a little more health. If the answer is no, then I'm yeah. Go. You know what? I'm gonna keep my promise. Fifth life. Fifth life, we are gonna get over there and we are gonna take care. We are gonna get to that boss. We're gonna be a giant spell sword. Yeah, that's right. We're gonna buy some more equipment. We're gonna get ourselves a fancy new sword. No, we're not gonna get ourselves a fancy new sword. We're gonna get ourselves some fancy new armor, which we can't put on yet because we need to upgrade our weight limit again, which we can't, which we don't have enough for, sadly. We will increase our magic damage, though, and that's most of the money that we can spend today. We're not going to look at the other equipment that we already unlocked because we can't afford it. Alright. This is it. This is the live where Mr. Devious redeems himself. And now you can see why I like Gigantism so much. With just that one room. Just the reach you get with the sword is great. It's fantastic. And the spell sword, I believe, does have enough HP to make it worth it. It's not a ton of HP, admittedly, no. But it is still a nice amount of HP. And here we have the Maya. We're in the wrong area. We're not supposed to be up here yet. We shouldn't be up there yet. So we're going to be going down, up and down, and all around. Unfortunately, they do have a much harder time in these vertical rooms when they're going down. When they're going up, though, because they swing in an upward-downward arc, well, as you can see the arc of their attack and how it's positioned. It's very bad if you have to go down, but if not, I'm bigger than these knights. I'm not afraid of them. Also, we ourselves have giant knives, which is a really good ability to have. It's cheap and it's strong. So, boom. Dead. I'm gonna get over to that boss, and I'm gonna kick his ass. I'm gonna show him who's boss. I'm gonna show him who's the boss. I haven't even seen him once, and I don't care. And this episode is the one where everything turns around for Mr. Devious, because I will not stand for that. I said with God as my witness, and I failed. So, I mean, oh my God, this is a silly enemy. But I don't care. He's dead. And we got ourselves some treasure. We're gonna make it to that boss, because I promised we would, and so we will. And so I'm gonna stop talking about it and actually get over there. And we have another giant skull. Huh. Didn't really do much, though. Which is good news for us. Unfortunately, we don't have a spelunker with which to find the boss room. Now, I know what you might be thinking. If I used the architect, I could have gotten there a lot more easily and just gone and fought the boss, but... well, I'm stubborn. I'm real stubborn. A lot more stubborn than I should be in this case. Giant knives took care of that goober, though, so we got ourselves even more treasure. I'm not beelining totally for the boss. Not that it matters, because here we are. Right in front of the boss door. Now, I'm just jumping in here really quick, just to get my MP back. That's all I'm here for. Even though I know that ducking out of the room was what killed me the last time. Oh, for God's sake. Okay. Okay, we're going in. We are going in and fighting the boss of Forest Abkhazia. Meet the Forgotten, Alexander. Giant Flaming Skull is the boss fight that we have to deal with today. We're gonna throw giant swords in his eyes. His attack is a giant crosshair thing, but he also summons more skulls. This makes the Gigantism class quite useful because if you can get more hits with your character than you could otherwise, which basically means you can kill more of these things and help clear out the screen. This guy's giant attack clearly takes up a lot of room and it's tough to deal with. And as the little skulls fill up the screen, it just makes this boss harder and harder until there's more bullets than you can actually deal with. So the best way to deal with this boss is to just gradually keep the battlefield as clear of enemies as you can. Oh boy. Without getting yourself pushed into a corner. Okay. And also the spell sword is useful here because as you kill this guy more and more, or as you kill his minions, you get more and more MP with which to fight him until he is dead! Holy crap! I was not expecting to actually kill the boss on the first try after the embarrassment that was this episode, but now Alexander has been frozen and forgotten into the darkness, and we have succeeded and gotten some big upgrades. Holy crap! I was not expecting to pull that out. But I'm proud of myself for doing so, because I stuck to my guns, and it paid off, and we killed Alexander the Forgotten. What a boss fight. Whew! Now I could end the episode there, but we still have this life. So we're gonna see this life through to its end with our legendary spell sword. Good time. Good time. Oh, that was an embarrassing way to die. We were killed by a scout after killing the giant skull. Now I'm shouting. But I'm satisfied. Because at the end of it all, even after those past lives, we made it all the way up to Alexander the Forgotten, whose name, by the way, might be important if you can make the connection to Forest Abkhazia. I'm not going to spoil it yet, but there is a connection there. And how it relates to the story at large. I'll let you stew on that for now, though, because now that I have redeemed myself in my eyes, we can hopefully get this story back on the road in the next episode. For now, though, thank you for watching. I just hope to see somebody in the next one if you hope to see more of Rogue Legacy. Bye-bye!